It's been 17 years since LEGO's last V-19 Torrent, but did the design improve after all this time? Let's find out. Hello everybody, the Brickologist here with another new August 1st LEGO Star Wars set review. Today we have set number 75432. I like how the 4 digits there are all in sequence. This is the V-19 Torrent Starfighter. This set retails for about $65 US, where I picked it up for that retail price at my local Target a bit early. It contains 567 pieces, and here is a front look at your extremely square box. The back of the box showcases some of the play features found within this set. This set includes one instruction manual with 154 pages of building, and at the back there are some big advertisements for the rest of the summer 2025 sets. I already reviewed the MTT and there should be a couple more reviews coming very soon. And here is the completed set itself. This is such a prototypical lineup for a LEGO Star Wars product. It's just the build and 3 minifigures. How many times have I said that in the past? Let's look at those minifigs here first. The first minifigure included with this set here was the only character we got in the original V-19 Torrent back in 2008, and that is a Phase 1 clone trooper pilot. And after all of these years, LEGO finally delivered an exclusive brand new helmet mold just for these clone pilots. If you're not in the know, the old version of this character used the typical Phase 1 clone trooper helmet they've been using for quite some time now, which is not accurate because those figures have fins, but clone pilots don't have fins, and LEGO just got really lazy with it. They're not lazy here today, which is something people are complaining a lot about with LEGO Star Wars figures lately, and they gave us this great looking new mold, which has some fantastic sculpting all around. However, the printing from the front I think looks good, but the visor is a little bit too stumpy off to the sides. I think it could have been elongated a little bit and it would have looked perfect. It's not bad by any stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely not perfect. However, I do think the torso and leg print looks great, has the usual clone face underneath that, and great back printing as well. And I think in an era where lots of clone trooper figures are pretty controversial, this one stands out as being pretty fantastic. Obi-Wan Kenobi is included with this set, or as the box refers to him as General Obi-Wan Kenobi, and oh my goodness, this figure absolutely knocked my socks off. Look at the arm printing. Both arms have exclusive prints here that look magnificent. The torso print, the leg print, the face print, the hairpiece choice, everything is so good. This is probably the best Obi-Wan figure LEGO has ever made, and it's really nice to get a Clone Wars version of Obi-Wan in a more normal style, not with the weird cartoony face they used to use for Clone Wars characters. He has a good back print and a good double-sided face as well. This is an absolutely fabulous Obi-Wan figure. Last and actually least, but it's not really saying anything because the minifigure lineup with this set is fantastic, is Asajj Ventress for the first time in 10 years appearing in a LEGO set, and I love her face print. That's a great look for her face. Her torso and leg printing look really good as well, and she has some great detail from the back alongside those curved lightsaber hilts that she's known for. This is a really good Asajj Ventress figure, bringing a fantastic lineup of figures together for this entire set. Now we can transition and look at the V-19 Torrent itself. This is only the second time LEGO has made this vehicle in the play scale. The last version came out in 2008 to coincide with the release of the Clone Wars movie, and that one was a lot bigger than this set. So this is part of the downsizing trend we've seen with LEGO Star Wars in the past few years. However, in this instance, I actually think the downscaling was justified because honestly, this new version feels more accurate to the size of the vehicle in universe. Now, I'll compare the two versions of this vehicle in LEGO form later on in the review, but for now, let's talk about what I think is some fantastic shaping from the LEGO designers here. They definitely nailed a lot of the proportions very well of the V-19 Torrent. This is going to look very funky, but I'm going to move these wings down for now to get a closer look at this mid-section of the vehicle, starting off with the yellow cockpit piece. Definitely an odd choice for a Star Wars set, but it is accurate to the source material. And it's just a dope recolor to get this part in yellow. That's very cool, and I'm sure some Blacktron fans are foaming at the mouth to get this new cockpit piece. Also, nice thing here, it's on a hinge, so it's very easy to open up like so. And I gotta gotta say, the shaping around this cockpit is really well done. Some of the best I've seen from a LEGO Star Wars set. There's also a nice sticker control panel, and it can easily fit your Clone Pilot minifigure inside, which is great to see. However, there is not a specific spot for his blaster, which I did find a bit irritating. But looking at some more views of the top section here, it's all very smooth. The shaping is really well done. However, I don't like these parts right here. Green is an accurate accent for the V-19 Torrent, but LEGO elected to use their olive green color when it really should have been their lime green color. Not really sure why they made that incorrect choice. Thankfully, there are not a ton of green elements on the V-19 Torrent, but there are a few more accents of it on the bottom right here that once again I do think should have been lime green instead. When it comes to the wings of the V-19 Torrent, I think LEGO nailed the design for the most part. I like the cone right here with this engine part. That's a cool looking sticker. I think the top of the wing looks pretty good. It's a nice mixture of tiles and studs. These stickers look solid as well. And even these guns at the back here look pretty good too. And of course there are stud shooters on top of there for added play value. I'll discuss the hinge element of these wings in just a minute, but the engines from the back here look very solid and the use of the black barrel pieces was really effective. And now it's time to discuss the back wing element, which of course is how you put this into flight mode. But before we look at that, I do think the design once again has a nice mixture of tiles and studs. I like these engines right here. And even the underside, LEGO used some of those reverse tile pieces, which help make it look a little bit less unsightly. But of course, we need to demonstrate the main function of the V-19 Torrent, which is transforming it from its landed position into its flight mode. One quick note. There are no landing gear. I found that a bit disappointing. The landing gear should come around this section, and I feel like there was space here to incorporate them, so that's definitely a miss on the designer's part. But to convert this into its flight mode, I mentioned the hinge parts right here, which are actually bionicle joints. Basically, it's all manual. You do this by yourself individually with your hands, so those go down like this, and then this part back here, basically it unclips from right here with this rod, and then this rod on the bottom here clips onto here, so now it is in flight mode, and it looks pretty darn good if you ask me. It's very sturdy and very swooshable, which is great for play value, and I think the wings are thin enough that it's good for display value too. However, you can't properly display it like this because it's too thin at the bottom, but it can lean, I guess, which isn't half bad. But literally, if you attach a few pieces from your parts bin to the bottom, I just grabbed random gray parts here, it will support it. It probably won't be super sturdy, but I'm sure there'll be workarounds for that as well. So it's not a huge issue at the end of the day. And while this function works out pretty nicely, it's kind of hard to even call it a function. It's all very manual, and it pales in comparison to the actual mechanism we had with the old V-19 Torrent. In my review for the MTT set the other day, I raved about how good the droid deployment play feature was, saying it was one of the top 10 best LEGO Star Wars play functions I had ever seen. Well, the 2008 V-19 Torrent is definitely another set that would wind up on that list. And now is a good time to compare the size of these two vehicles, which is not really a comparison at all because the original completely dwarfs the 2025 version. I mean, seriously, it's like half the size. So because of the immense scale plus the incredible function, which also provides landing gear for the vehicle, the new one I originally thought was a bit disappointing. However, the trade-off was instead of the function, we had way better aesthetics like in this area, whereas in the old one there's a lot of exposed Technic that does not look very good. So it's kind of a catch-22, and I ultimately think this new version is a worthy successor to the original, which is a set that I've always really adored. So, bringing everything together, it's time to wrap up my thoughts here on the new LEGO Star Wars V-19 Torrent. I'm honestly really impressed with this set. I think it's a very good design with some cool functions, albeit not as good as the original, but absolutely fantastic minifigures, and is actually a somewhat okay value. The price per piece is definitely not perfect, but it's not that far off, and it's much better than some of the other summer 2025 LEGO Star Wars sets. It's relatively close to that golden ratio of 10 cents per piece. Plus there's a brand new mold for the Clone Pilot's helmet, there's some recolors in this set, and overall my eye test just tells me this vehicle is a decent size for $65. Sure, would it have been nice to have been $60? Yeah, I guess, but if we're only talking about $5 off from the ideal price, I feel like we have a pretty good value on our hands. And overall, while I wouldn't necessarily pick this one over the 2008 rendition of the V-19 Torrent, I think this is a great substitute, especially if you don't have that set and you don't want to spend the expensive prices on the aftermarket. And this set has objectively better minifigures and is objectively probably a cleaner design, just without some of the sauce that set had. Which is why I think this is one of the stronger LEGO Star Wars Playscale sets we have gotten this year, and my rating is going to be a very high 8.5 out of 10. But those are just my thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you all so much for watching today's review. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace out. God bless. Bye-bye.